Ladies and gentlemen, GM, what is going on? How are we all doing? Guys, welcome back to another Forbes in Web3 space. As usual, well, maybe it's wrong to say that. Last week, it was my first ever Forbes Web3 space co-host slot, right? This time around is my second time around. But yes, I am filling in for Leon for the time being because my man is just out there cooking in Vegas. And I know he's traveling back and forth, left and right. So filling in for the man himself. But look, really, really stoked and excited to be back here once again. Before I proceed with anything, you already know what I'm about to ask. All the listeners, everyone on the panel, if you want to do me a favor, interact with the space link pinned at the very top of the Jumbotron, or you can also interact at the very bottom right of the space as well. Anything you guys can do to show love. Comment, like, bookmark, repost. Comment down below your favorite drift. What did you eat for breakfast today? Anything to show love and engagement. That would be much appreciated. But look, today's topic, man, it's funny enough. I feel like I've been getting into a lot more Web3 and AI spaces, and I'm learning every single one. So I'm taking a lot of notes. I'm paying attention to what's the hottest narrative, what's the latest tool here and there, right? But first, man, we have an absolute stacked panel here with us today, and I know we're expecting a lot more people to join as well. But let's just check in with who we have so far, and I'll go to herself first, Manny, on the behalf of the Forbes Web3 account. Manny, how are you doing today? What's going on?
GM, Bhavsa. I'm doing great. Forbes is officially in Seoul, guys. We are Korea Blockchain Week, and we just announced our Forbes stage, which I'll pin up to the top. So it's great. Taha, our chief growth officer, is in Seoul right now, eating some really good food, making me very jealous. But the core team is here, boots on the ground in the US, and we're really happy to support. And I know we're talking about Web3 and AI. I'm also just excited to talk about how a lot of these conversations now we will start seeing in the in real life spaces. Special shout out to FOMO Kings and My Token Asia because they have some exciting stuff cooking up that I'm excited to share more into later this spaces. But yeah, Bafsa, just another busy week in the Forbes Web3 ecosystem.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. And Manny, just yesterday I confirmed that I will be going to Token this year. So I hope to see you there as well. And everyone here on this panel that is going, I hope to see you guys there. But Manny, thank you for the swift intro. Let's just check in with the rest of our lovely guests today. We also have, man, I was just speaking to this guy 10 minutes ago. We got Devin on the behalf of Game GPT. Devin, what's going on, man? Welcome back. How are you doing? Just for the sake of today's show, what's going on today, man?
What's up, everybody? Just hitting the afternoon here on East Coast USA. Loving it. Going back to back with you, Bossa. Excited to get into the discussion.
Let's get it. Let's get it. Devin, I appreciate you. We also have another legend here with us today, Michael, on the behalf of Today the Game. Michael, what's going on? How are you doing?
It's going very well. Thank you very much. Nice to be here and with the illustrious guests and looking forward to diving in.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. We also have Kip Protocol. Kip, what's going on? Who am I speaking behind this account?
GM is Julian Pei. I'm a co-founder of Kip Protocol, and we've been working with Unfungible and Forbes Web3 for some time now. So happy to be part of the convo.
Absolutely, man. Appreciate you here as well. Look, we also have Jen with us as well, co-founder and chief AI officer of Kip. Jen, what's going on? How are you doing?
Hey, great, thanks. GM or GN, depending on where you are. GN for us, but GM to everyone for whom it is morning. Hey.
Absolutely. Seems we're all tuning in from different times of our day. Thank you guys, especially for those in the nighttime. Thank you for spending an hour here with us. I'll make sure your time here is worth it. And we also have Verita with us today. Verita, what is going on? How are we all doing?
Hey, GM, Mitchell from Korea. I'm heading up ecosystem. Keen to talk about AI and blockchain.
Ooh, Verita, appreciate you and thanks. And I think it's our first time meeting as well. So pleasure to meet you. Looking forward to today's discussion. We also have that Manny was just mentioning, My Token Asia, with us today as well. My Token Asia, what is going on? How are you doing?
Hi, GM. I'm one of I'm one of the co-founder of MyToken and operating this account. My name is Vivid. So we are actually a Web3 entertainment event endorsed by Tourism Malaysia. is a government, is a tourism department of government of Malaysia, and then title sponsored by ApeCoin. Yeah, happy to be here. Thanks.
Yeah, and a pleasure to have you. We're grateful for you as well. And last but not least, we have FOMO Kings with us. FOMO Kings, pleasure to meet you, man. What's going on? How are you doing?
I'm good, man. GM, how's things over at your end?
Oh, we're
Everyone's
we're
doing
we're
good.
ready.
Yeah, it's been amazing. I've been happy to be here. A lot more to talk about on my token Asia as well.
Yeah, let's do it. And look, I encourage everyone here on the panel today. I know we're packing up on the stage, but at any given time, you guys want to chime in and speak, feel free to raise your hand with this emoji right here, right? Or if you want to just chime in, say a quick little take, feel free to unmute. As long as we're not cutting each other off, is all I ask, right? But look, like what Manny was just saying, man, she just announced that My Token Asia, along with K Protocol, right? A couple new partnerships, couple activations going on between these two. And I actually want to pass it over to My Token Asia very swiftly here to kick us off. And My Token Asia, if you don't mind, right, for the audience, for people that are now just coming across you guys for the first time, if you don't mind just breaking down, introducing us to what is My Token Asia and what can we be expecting from you guys in the next couple weeks? My Token Asia, please go ahead.
Hey guys, all right. So don't mind, I'll speak to that. My name is FOMO Kings, and I'm one of the founders of My Token Asia. And My Token Asia is designed to be a Web3 entertainment festival. So like the best way I can put it is like we are interacting more on a consumer base. So we do have an exhibition, right? But the exhibition also holds a bunch of wonderful speakers that come in. We have panels, we have what we call lightning pitch as well. So that's a pretty interesting part that's there. And the whole event is based around interacting, and I would say the best way to put it is getting more Web 2 people on board as well. So that's why it's designed to have a kind of immersive activation. So I call it immersive activation. So immersive activation is basically that every sponsor or every booth that's actually in the exhibition creates an activity for consumers to better understand what their project is about, educating the consumer or the visitor about anything about Web3, or whether they're using some kind of blockchain solutions, or whether it's Web3 gaming, so that we can actually get more Web2 people into our whole, I would say, ecosystem, right? So the whole event is actually something that was pitched to the government a very long while back ago, and we wanted to do it this year, but we were finally endorsed by Tourism Board, which is awesome. So they will have their own booth there as well, and then also endorsed by the Ministry of Development of Economic Cooperation. So it's actually supported by two ministries, which is a first for us actually here for a kind of Web3 exhibition. And of course, our title sponsors being powered by ApeCoin, which is awesome. So you can expect to see a lot of booths with cool activations going on. We also have a lot of Web2 activations, which is live painting by some Web2 artists. And then we also have a music fest in the end of the first day to kick things off, and it's called To the Moon, right? It's an IP we created around My Token Asia as well, and that features a whole bunch of cool DJs that will be basically blasting off EDM, and of course, like partner sponsors, a whole bunch of Web2 crowd will be there as well, including a lot of communities of Web3 that is coming over to Malaysia to support the event. And that takes place, the whole event takes place for 2 days. So it's 14th and 15th of September. Yeah.
Woo! First of all, that is right there. That's my sound effect for some alpha. Homo Kings, first of all, thank you so much for sharing so much about, My Token Asia. And I encourage people, if you want more information, you do have the account right there on the panel. So feel free to take a couple scrolls here and there for those that want more information. But FOMO Kings, thanks for kicking us off today. And let's officially just pivot back, first of all, to the original topic of today, which is all about Web3 and AI. And like I was saying in my intro, this is a conversation that I've been finding myself in a lot more spaces as of recent, considering one, I was just hosting with Game GPT with Devin, and we were just talking about this, right? How Web3 and AI are, especially with blockchain and the crossroads of AI merging together, right? This is essentially one of the newest narratives as far as what are we going to be expecting in the next 5 to 10 years and many just years to come, right? But I do just want to start over here with Manny. And Manny, if you don't mind, right? Simple question, just want to, break the ice here. From your perspective, Manny, what are the most significant ways AI and Web3 tech complement each other, right? And I'm looking at today's panel. There's so many. We have Michael here on behalf of Today the Game, and I know that is also an AI game narrative building, right? So I want to hear from other people as well. But Manny, if you don't mind just kicking us off here on today's topic, right? What are the most significant ways AI and Web3 complement each other? Manny, what does that look like? Please.
Ooh, what I'm so excited about is these activations that we can't even imagine yet. Like, I think, 20, 30 years ago, trying to explain to someone, hey, this wired phone that you're using for communication, one day you'll be able to see the person through it. It's hard to really fathom that into our minds, right? And I think that's exactly what AI and Web3 is going to look like. There's going to be all these exciting things and releases and product launches that we can't even really imagine. And it's thanks to the builders that are building in the Web3 space right now that are really going to drive that for us moving forward. Here's a couple things that I'm really excited about just from a personal level. I've always been a really big art collector. Art growing up has been a really big part of my life. My family, my parents, they always made us travel and go around and plan trips around museums and exhibitions. And what I'm really excited to see is really how artists will determine their positioning with AI. Sometimes right now it's a sensitive topic, right? Like, is AI art, is AI design, is AI creation real? Does it have authenticity? How do you determine whether the human gets the credit or the tool itself gets the credit? But we have seen so many incredible AI artists, even this year especially, that have created some really amazing stuff that has kind of showed us that, hey, you can have authentic creations and then you can have AI creations, but now you're not simply the designer. You may not have the stencil that's actually creating the piece, but rather you're the narrator that's telling the tool what to create and what to use. That personally, I'm really excited about. What I'm seeing more so in Web3 gaming when it comes to AI, and of course, our speakers will have so much more to share here, is how can you implement more AI like customizations into these games? Like, if I had a very specific asset or a weapon or clothing or some sort of like side character that I wanted into my games and I wanted to create on my own, could I now be my own creator within this game and now use AI tools to make my experience even more enriching, right? When you go into a game, you may have like 100 different assets, rarities, properties that you can choose from. But now imagine if you can implement ways that you could just create this on your own. These are the things that really excite me. And I think I can't wait to see how it comes out. And of course, there's the trading side. We always hear about a lot of AI tools, a lot of different types of algorithms and setups that can now help you become a better trader or a more informed trader. These things, I think we still have a long way to go. I think hallucinations in AI tech is still very legit, and it's something that even the top companies like OpenAI and Google's Brad and Gemini are trying to figure out. But just seeing how far we have come in this mini ecosystem in the past year makes me so optimistic and excited for what challenges this tech will fix in the future.
First of all, Manny, I just want to add one thing to your list here, right? I think AI is amazing right now for creators, right? I was just in a space with Devin with Game GPT, and we're talking about how there's Sora, right? Mid Journey, a lot of these commonly known AI tools that are helping creators get an idea out faster, right? One thing that we did say though, to a contrary to this point, is sometimes when there's too much AI involved with originality, or if there's too much AI, for example, ChatGPT is probably used so much in a lot of content nowadays that we can almost sniff when something isn't written in the perspective of the author or of the writer, right? And so there is this little fine balance between how AI is being used as a tool, and I feel like AI can also kind of tarnish or hurt sometimes a brand if it's used incorrectly, you know. But again, man, you listed a lot of great things, and I myself, man, I'm looking forward to more of that trading bots that you mentioned, because I myself, man, I need some help, guys. I'm not gonna lie, I need some help with some trading. But look, we do have Burrito with his hand up. Burrito, please, if you don't mind chiming in, go ahead.
Yeah, I like where we're going with this. So one of the things I've been looking at recently with the confluence between AI and Web3 is I kind of see Web3 as this like ownership tool. So it's the read, write, own aspect of the internet. But I think that that's where it's sort of going to be most profound is Web3 is going to like enable people to take ownership of aspects of AI. So whether or not it's taking ownership of your data in order to train the AI to get that customization that Michael was talking about with the gamer character, which is more personalized and sort of almost brought out of the game and into another realm. That's you taking ownership of those aspects and then being able to use that. And it's only possible with blockchain technology. I don't think like there's a really big difference between sort of the Web2 databases and the centralized AI companies and where the Web3 AI companies are going. And it's in the realm of allowing privacy and data dignity and those sorts of value feedback loops to go back to the user and the creator and those making the AI happen. So yeah, that's what I'm most excited about with the connection between the two. And yeah, of course, Verida's working on this front and center.
Yeah. And look, before I give my take, I want to pass it over to Michael here because Michael, I know what Verita just shared probably falls along the same lines of what you're building with today the game. So Michael, please, would love to hear from you as well. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I share the excitement and passion for the subjects um, of AI and Web3 and that confluence. I agree that an exciting aspect of that confluence is in the ownership layer. For me, when I kind of look back historically at the last 10 or 15, even 20 years of digital culture, I think specifically for games, I think that one of the most prevalent themes we've seen is the importance of user generated content. People love to be able to create things to the level that people, jump into Roblox and create games and they're only 12 years old and they make money. And I don't think that this trend is slowing down. Um, I think that that's just a natural evolution of digital culture. But I think it's actually on the flip, it's actually propagating, sped up by the emergence of really powerful AI. Because what really powerful AI does is democratizes creation. It gives more people the ability to do greater things with less. And that is actually profoundly important for things like video games, but also broadly speaking for culture. Um, Now, why does Web3 matter in that? Well, I think since the emergence of digital culture, people have started finding out that actually loads of their digital assets are valuable to them, whether that's Web2 or Web3. Like the time invested inside of World of Warcraft, that's a valuable asset for people. And in Web2 worlds, essentially, there's no ability to ultimately trade the value of what you've put in that World of Warcraft, all that grind that you put in. And what Web3 offers is the ability to actually put value onto these digital assets, whether it's time value, XP value, the art assets themselves, a whole myriad of different things. And I think that that's incredibly important as we give the ability to people to create all manner of beautiful, amazing virtual worlds. What we're saying is it's easier to create worlds, and you are going to be the key stakeholder in the worlds that you create. And I think that's an exciting confluence.
And Michael, I just want to follow up with you, right? With how you're approaching today the game, do you also feel like you're carrying this responsibility of like leading a forefront, setting a standard for what AI integration looks like in the traditional gaming world, right? Because I think this is a new narrative that is now starting to unravel with AI being used in game development. So I'm kind of curious, Michael, how do you like kind of foresee the future of that? Do you think this is a new thing that's going to be a lot more practice, or is this still kind of new to the world?
I mean, it's very emergent, and it's obviously because it's cutting edge. Things are changing constantly. Like you wake up one day and you see, a piece of news, and you're like, "Wow, that is a game-changing update." So like that's obviously super cool and exciting. It presents a number of different challenges. It creates pressure on you to be responsive in terms of the research and development that you do internally as a development team. We invest heavily inside of AI. We've got multiple PhD level people, and they spend their lives thinking about these questions. So we have an advantage, I suppose, in that sense. But the area really that we try to focus on um, is the ability for people to be able to connect with AIs inside of digital worlds, and that's where we ultimately are really, really passionate, because I just I'm just so excited about what virtual worlds look like when we've got really intelligent digital beings navigating them, and when we start cohabiting these digital worlds with these smart beings. So, to answer your question, yeah, we kind of we work at the forefront of I suppose, like AI gaming, and specifically with that Web3 edge. We're happy to do it. You know.
I realized the Today account might have unmuted. All good, all good. We, we got two speakers on behalf of today, the game today. But no, Michael. First of all, I appreciate you sharing. And look, maybe this is exactly why we're having this discussion today, right? Is figuring out and explaining, breaking down, right, this new digital landscape and how everything kind of ties together. You know, and I actually brought up a good friend here, Teddy, Hype Teddy, man. First of all, Teddy, thanks for coming up on stage, man. But look, from a perspective of many of us here, I think many folks here can say that gaming tends to be one of the more easier onboarding tools as far as how can we introduce Web3 in a way where it's like we're not talking about NFTs, we're not talking about crypto, right? Here's a fun gaming experience that probably requires little to none skill level, whatever, or maybe it does, But Teddy, I'm gonna go to you for this one very quickly, and then I'll keep passing it around the room. But Teddy, as a gamer yourself, right? How do you kind of foresee the future of gaming and AI? Do you think this is a good blend for one another, or is this something that probably doesn't mesh too well, and you're kind of looking at what works and what doesn't work? Teddy, if you don't mind sharing a little bit,
Yep.
please.
Yep. Are you kidding me? I worked for many, many years in gaming content creation, and the moment we utilized AI and started prompting, um, our ability to be able to create storylines, to create characters, to create evergreen content just went 10x. I'm in meetings with YouTubers a few times a week, and these are big creators that are making content in Roblox, Minecraft, GTA, and all of these processes, from generating video ideas to generating different character customizations for their favorite characters, to even making the 3D models now that are then ported into games that we use for these fun adventures, which are within video games, but are seemingly viewed as like a new cartoon episode every single day. If anyone here has kids that watch Roblox or Minecraft roleplay, I work with these creators day in and day out, and AI absolutely helped explode our productivity on a whole different level. And when it comes to UGC rich games, when it comes to mods, when it comes to storytelling, creating relatable and fun personalities and open world roleplay, AI content creators should be utilizing this. And I'm a bit biased because I've helped a lot in that field when it comes to AI and gaming content creation. But even the creators that didn't believe it at some point have now integrated AI into some point of their video creation process, whether it's ideation, whether it's looking at, metrics that are more valued by social media. I mean, 20 minutes ago, I just ended up a meeting where I was going through watch time and average viewer percentage on some of our most viewed YouTube videos, which are in the tens of millions. And all of it was done by AI. All I had to do was go to the YouTube analytics page and throw in the sheet. And, I've gotten better at prompting because I've been doing that more. And so the best content creators are going to be the ones that are going to be able to be like, okay, I'm amazing at doing these things in game. I'm amazing at being this personality, but how can I make it so that I'm maximizing my time to do the things that I'm really good at? And I can give the AI some of these more menial tasks in the meantime, and then you sort of grow in your competency when it comes to AI. So coming from a content creator perspective, I thought I would give my 2 cents. It's been really, really fun, and it still helps me every single day. Even with now recently, I signed a Web2 manager as I got back to content creation 6 months ago. But for the past 3 or 4 months, I had to do everything with AI myself. I had to have my own virtual manager. But yeah, I'm sure my manager, when it comes to all the work he's doing in order to tap in with all these brands and do all these deals, he has to 99.9% be using AI to make it so that it's time efficient as well.
Yeah. And I feel like AI is like even in Notion, for those that are Notion maxis like myself, right? AI can literally be found in a lot of the workspace tools that we're using today. You know, I myself, man, I am a mid journey maxi. I love prompting, I love generating images. If you guys actually go to my account a year ago, you would see that a lot of my content, especially my GM posts, would always be a mid journey graphic, you know? So I encourage, man, creators to keep using that, man. There's a lot of many ways that we can be unique, you know. And first of all, Teddy, thanks for sharing your opinion here. I'm gonna toss it right back to FOMO Kings on the behalf of My Token Asia, and just to kind of keep this conversation going along the lines of this future. We keep talking about this future of AI, and I'm very curious, FOMO Kings, if you don't mind just giving us some insight as well from your end, right? How with Token, first of all, Token 2049 in 2 weeks, we have Korea blockchain right now. We also have Breakpoint Solana, right? So many events in the month of September. How do you think AI can actually be involved and integrated with these events? And do you think this can potentially change the way that people across the world can, I guess, approach Web3 events? Or, how is AI revolutionizing the way that events are being held? What are your thoughts here, FOMO?
Hey man. All right. So AI for events, it just goes back to you as an organizer on how do you want to use the system. I mean, we, to be honest, like we've worked with a bunch of companies who are coming out from China and stuff like that. They do AI cloning, and then you could actually script everything in the back end, and they use it for television broadcasting. They use it for TikTok sales. They use it all over Web2, especially coming back to retail. And in events, most of the events now are being hosted by AI MCs, which actually, position themselves together with a Web2 MC, and it's going off on the back of the screen. And I think that's just fantastic because, it just gives a whole new feel to what it is. And we were supposed to get some AI boots, like photo boots from China as well, but I think that can't actually take place this time around, and we'll probably do it in the next event. But those are really cool as well because you can actually interact with the boots, and you can actually plug in. So like for instance, let's say if Kip, if you're there, right, or any other brands that were there, we could actually plug in your brands in there or a character in there. And let's say if I was just a consumer there, I could actually take my picture, convert it to one of your characters, and in the back have one of the characters from the game there as well. So that would be sick and amazing. Um, Sadly, it's just I didn't have the time to do it with the team this year, but definitely something we're looking for next year. And then we're also looking, let's say, okay, coming back to events, right? So that's something cool that you can engage with the visitors. I think there's a whole lot of potential coming out from AI when it comes to events, exhibitions. Like, I mean, it would be also great to have them on speaker slots. To be honest, I would love to see an AI moderator at some point. Yeah, and just stay tuned on the My Token Twitter. You'll see something cool happening next week with AI also at the same time. So to stay tuned. And in event, we'll definitely have something there as well. So if you're visiting, it's going to be quite exciting. But if not, you'll probably see it in one of the videos that we'll probably push out later on. um yeah, so that's my take on like exhibitions and stuff. But like in Malaysia, just just giving you guys another additional, I would say maybe alpha. Okay, so in Malaysia, it's quite interesting. So under MDEC, the Ministry of Development Economic Cooperation, then you have the Ministry of Science, right? So a lot of people don't know this, but Malaysia is actually very blockchain friendly. The government, I mean, the Ministry of Science has actually just put out a whole plan for blockchain solutions, which also includes AI technology for next year. So that is actually what they're gunning for. And so at the same time, they're looking for different ways to implement blockchain solutions, including AI, into the whole consumer ecosystem, right? So that means you're not only targeting like apps and stuff like that, but how could that be developed and then grow more and have, I would say, just general user base or everyday life base back to the population, right? MDEC itself, they are looking heavily into AI, but on their point of AI is more into AI on the metaverse. It also could be AI into gaming. So all the gaming companies out here, projects out here, that would be something that's cool to look at if you're looking at Malaysia as a country that you want to get into or try to work with. Yeah, but on my point, I mean, like, there's a lot of things that you can do, and if you ever feel that you want to work with, I mean, feel free to just drop me a
Yeah.
message, man.
Dude,
Yeah.
first of all, I'm over here like, well, I gotta go to Malaysia now because here in the U.S., man, we're still wondering and figuring out if we're even gonna use crypto, and we're dealing with income tax and all these things. I'm like, bro, why can't we just be like Singapore and all these other countries that are already utilizing crypto to benefit them? I'm like, so FOMO Kings, your username's funny. FOMO, I'm having FOMO, just wanting to move to Malaysia now. But FOMO Kings, first of all, I see in your bio you were also a part of GoPro, right? And for some odd reason, when I saw that, it reminded me so much of when Sora first came out with ChatGPT, right? And their marketing material was like this. It was like a drone view of like, yeah, it was like a drone view where it looked like a camera was flying through Tokyo, Japan. It seemed like, and so many people, including myself, was just astonished by the quality of what type of these type of tools and what they can output, right? And I'm wondering from your perspective, because I know I used to own a GoPro. I used to own like a GoPro Hero 3. I used to like take it everywhere with me, right? Do you think that companies in the future are going to be leveraging AI video content to kind of market their products, right? Because I feel this is a way to kind of introduce this new tech to the world where it's like, hey, you don't have to shoot the footage anymore. You can actually use our own engine, our own GPT engine, whatever. Let's say GoPro comes out with their own GPT engine, right? Is this a way to kind of market a new, entirely different product to the world? And from your perspective with working with GoPro, how do you kind of see that working?
So you might have seen some teasers on GoPro.com, or have you been looking at the Twitter? You see some teasers up already. So yeah, so fourth's the date, fourth, right? So fourth's tomorrow. So just stay tuned. But yeah, I mean, for GoPro, looking at it this way, we've been building AI. I mean, the programming sector into the cameras for a long while already, right? That's been happening since, I would say, I think like Hero 7 or Hero 8, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, don't quote me for that. Um, yeah, so what happens is we also created this app where we move from the GoPro app, and it's also called a Quick App now. So Quick App it does some have a sort of AI based technology, right? Or up to that level, I would say, for when it started building off. So it could detect, like, the best moments from that entire. Let's say if you dump in like a few different clips, right? And you're looking at like 10 seconds, 20 seconds, whatever it is, and you're just dumping it in. So it automatically can create, the app can create a video for you, which is actually social worthy. You still can go in, you can do a manual edit and all that stuff. And how that works is based on AI tech, the app is actually detecting best moments, best shots, like the best smiles, laughter, different types of sounds in the back. What's exciting in that moment? It pulls everything in, and then it churns out a video that will tell you, hey, based on what you've input, this is the best stuff that I come out with, and this is the video here for you. So it's exactly similar to what we're using with like ChatGPT and all this these days, right? We're just inputting stuff. So it was actually trained to do that, and you see that Quick has been uh, getting a lot better at it as it goes on as well, right? So I think that's one form of it. To answer your question, like, hey, in the future, what are the plans? To be honest, like, I think it would just keep developing. I don't know how far it would develop, but I'm sure, like every big brand out there, they're always looking at new tech and how that would benefit them in the end of the day.
I'm just waiting for one of those like iconic commercials to come out where it's like the commercial was like it was filmed so well, the shots were so good, and then the last 5 seconds of the commercial just says this was made by AI, and then all of a sudden you create this like response from the world that's like, oh my gosh, like AI is just absolutely insane. I mean, that's kind of what we got with Sora, right? With when the response of Sora first came out, so FOMO, appreciate you sharing first of all. And funny enough, Devin, you have your hand raised, and I actually was going to go to you for this one. But please, if you have a thought you want to share first before I ask my question, go ahead, man.
Yeah, and I was just going to bounce off your idea. I think we're on the same wavelength there. But whether it's Sora, whether it's Runway, which is kind of like the other video generation model that's going on right now, or Luma, there's so many things that people can think about in terms of how they grok like Web3 and AI. I was actually going to take a more simplified approach and actually separate those two ideas apart from each other and then bring them back together so that everyone on the panel or just the listeners can understand a little bit how a new perspective about it. But in terms of how AI can build games, because that's our forte, GameGPT is an AI model that allows people to build blockchain hyper casual games. AI allows people to more than ever before do things in their game development, I guess, like toolkit, whether it's generating the code base, generating the 2D or 3D assets, generating the soundtracks or the cutscenes, like you were talking about, Bossa, or even the maps. We just had a space a couple of moments ago that went over all the tools that actually do those things. But technically, all of those things could be done without Web3. Where Web3 actually works is whenever we're taking those assets and putting them on chain. And then that's when we have really the Web3 economy for those AI outputs, right? And in terms of what can be done with those assets once they're put on chain, is for one, and I'm sure everyone knows this, you can prove authenticity. So you can actually prove that you own this asset or that the original creator who makes this certain thing was the one to do it. And then another thing is you can partially own those digital assets. So a lot of people can come around and say that they have multiple ownerships of this one asset or not. The way that AI or GameGPT uses kind of these Web3 components is we allow other users to create these games using our AI model. And then we prove ownership in terms of allowing these creators to actually have royalties, own the assets, and even port off all of that information off of the platform if they don't want to have it in our app or in our browser, kind of like our desktop browser arcade. So that's kind of what we do. Kip, I see, has the right hand called, and I was actually just going to reference the amazing space we had a couple of weeks ago about decentralized AI and what that means. But I have a hint that they're probably going to go into those topics as well. So I don't want to spoil it, but just the act of kind of adding these Web3 components onto not just game assets that can be created with AI, but AI itself and inference also is another really interesting thing that I don't think not many people have thought about. But the long term externalities on what it can do for an economy, but also just blockchain is huge.
Kip, please, man, that perfect intro. Go ahead.
Thank you. So I think, well, I learned a lot tonight about how a lot of the leading game studios are using Web3 to create assets, and where Kip is focused on in this confluence of Web3 and AI is a lot a lot of the nuts and bolts of what it means to call something decentralized AI, right? So from our perspective, of course, Web3 brings ownership. On that, we are 100% aligned. And in fact, that's the one thing that Web3, the only thing that Web3 does better than everything else, or ownership can only truly be granted by Web3 tech. We write own, as was mentioned earlier. But for if decentralized AI is a goal, which for us at KIP it definitely is. The reasons for the need for the decentralization of AI is not just the ownership of the resultant assets, but the ownership of everything, because AI kind of affects everything. We have a thesis going on that it could very well be that AI or decentralized AI would be a huge user adoption vehicle, maybe as big as games, or maybe over the longer term, bigger than games, for a simpler reason that um, AI kind of affects everything, not just gamers. But obviously, we're not there yet. But our version or our vision of decentralized AI is more like, in order to truly decentralize it, you kind of have to decentralize the components of what it means for an AI product, which goes down, as Devin I think was nicely giving us a segue into the models, the applications, and the data sets. right, necessary to create the product. These basically every single AI product that we play with, it definitely have a model at the back, okay, and you have application in which you're giving instructions to the model. These two things need to be decentralized for you to call it decentralized AI. And in many of the use cases that especially KIP focuses on, which under retrieval augmented generation of RAG, there will be an external data set and knowledge base as well. And we're at KBW, and we're talking to projects which have very interesting developments, right? So data DAOs have started coming up because people have started realizing that their data has been secretly taken, or maybe not so secretly taken, by big tech to train their models. And yeah, so they are organizing, they're self-organizing into data DAOs, right? And in which we work with them, or we're talking about working with them, and some of them are also reaching out to us because what KIP does in this context is to provide the data connectivity layer and the payment rails. Because just now, as we mentioned, a decentralized AI product, okay, would be made up of a model, an application in the front end, or sometimes called an agent. We prefer the term application because it's kind of wider, and sometimes a data set. So you tokenize all these three things. You need to make sure they can connect to each other, because if they can connect to each other, means you can still it still works, you know. And when they can connect to each other, and if when they are linked up to provide an answer to a query, whether the answer is an image, it's a new 3D asset, it's an answer to a question, then there needs to be a fair way of making sure the three pieces are the three owners of the three pieces can be paid in a trustless and permissionless manner. And what KIP is focused on is make sure those bread and butter issues can be solved. Because if you solve those bread and butter issues, that means an owner of a data set, an owner of a model, and an owner of an application has a reason to decentralize, has a reason to come into Web3, because they know that they can do their work and they can make their money, their revenues. We're not talking about speculative token trading profits. We're talking about bread and butter operational revenues through serving an operational function, like making an image, like making a 3D asset, okay, or giving an answer to a question. So
Right.
when they can link up and they can make operational revenues in Web3, then decentralized AI becomes alive. You know, all of these products become possible, and we think that's very necessary if we don't want, um, well, the monopolists that are currently leading to continue leading and to continue owning everything in the future. So that's kind of where we see the confluence of AI and Web3.
Yeah. And look, I know you're kind of hinting at the future of this, right? And Kit Protocol is just one of the many examples that could potentially be solving this issue, you know? So I look forward to many more updates from your product, Kip, and thank you so much for sharing. I saw Varita with your hand up. Please don't shy away. We'd love to hear from you. Go
Yeah, I
ahead.
just wanted to sort of reiterate and jump in on that conversation from Kip as well, because I completely agree. It's almost like it's the payment layer between AI agents or applications, which is kind of this Trojan horse that brings in adoption of Web3 or blockchain across like the entire tech industry, in my opinion. Like a lot of the news over the last month or so have been Coinbase releasing an SDK for their AI agent USDC payments. And I think that it is just going to continue in that direction where you get this more data dignity layer to the ecosystem where, as Kit was saying, you've got these data DAOs or individuals who take ownership of their data, and there's automated value chains between those who use that data to create, those who use that data to train and improve models, and also the models themselves and the AI agents. I see themselves as almost like this value transfer system where it's not possible without blockchain to have the authentication and the permissions and the ownership. So when you want to get these more self-improving economies in place, that's where AI and Web3 really starts to thrive, and we get to that decentralized AI future, which it's hard to imagine now, but I see people who use AI don't necessarily even need to know that all of the payments and transfers of value, whether that is reputation value, capital value, or database value, all happens on the blockchain in the back end.
Brita, just to kind of
Yeah.
piggyback from what you're saying, right? Just a question to you: how do you kind of see AI meshing with the current scene of blockchain? Do you think AI is currently benefiting more Web3 products, or is Web3 benefiting more AI products, or is it like a fine line
That's a good
balance?
question. Yeah, so I think like it's sort of, as the protocol guy was saying, it's about attaching these sort of Web3 technologies and principles to the underlying AI wave of adoption and tools that people have in order to improve content creation or gaming or some of the other things that we've been speaking about. So I see it as more of a symbiotic relationship rather than a to and fro, where some of the best AI is only going to be possible because there is a Web3 component which protects the data and gets access to this really private and rich, as in context rich data that isn't available in the public web in order to improve its models. So that's one way that Web3 is potentially going to help AI. And then AI helps Web3 in the payments example that I was kind of explaining, where it's difficult. Like I'm sure we've all been through that process of trying to onboard like a parent or a cousin or someone to Web3 and setting up their wallets and things like that. I think it's going to be far easier to do that if the incentive is, hey, there's this AI agent which saves me 10 hours a week worth of this chore or this function or work thing that I have to do. Now, it's got a blockchain wallet in the back end, which controls all the authentication and payment side of things. Go use it. And then before you know it, we've got cryptocurrency in the hands of hundreds of thousands more people. And it becomes this, as I said, symbiotic growth.
And you explained that right on the dot actually. And Verita, first of all, appreciate you sharing. And ladies and gents, didn't even realize we're approaching the last 9 minutes of today's space. A ton of insight, guys. I will say this: every single time you tune into a Forbes space, you can expect a lot of insight, a lot of alpha, even some just knowledgeable gems dropped here and there, right? A lot of these guys that are speaking speak from experience, and I think that's what I value the most. And I appreciate everyone here, from Michael to Teddy, Devin, Kip, FOMO Kings, My Token, Verita. Thank you guys for sharing so much of your insight regarding today's topic. With the last 9 minutes, though, I do just want to, pass it around for a quick little speed round test, right? And it's going to be a very, very simple question, right? I'm just going to be asking you guys, what are some emerging trends where AI and Web3 are both shaping the future of both fields? So very similar to the question I just asked Verita, right? But where do you guys kind of see this AI Web3 narrative going 5 to 10 years from now, right? Devin, I think I asked you this question in the game GPT space for the last 10 minutes, but would love to ask you for one more time, once again on this one. Devin, if you don't mind, man, where do you kind of see the future of AI and Web3?
Of course. Yeah, would love to talk about it. This is, if I had my own way with my schedule, what I'd be talking about all day long. So no worries. In terms of the future of I don't know if I'm smart enough to know how AI is going to be used in all types of industries, but I think I have a pretty good understanding of where it's going in the context of gaming. From what I'm seeing, all facets of game development are being tackled with AI. And I opened with that in my statement a couple of minutes ago. Like, whether it's the code base, whether it's the asset generation, whether it's the cutscenes that happen in between, kind of like the boss fights, or to let you know that something really big is about to happen. I think AI is really going to help really big, previously super large budget games do things much more efficiently. And I think this ability to create really expensive games more inexpensively are also going to affect the barrier to entry, so that people who may not know how to code, or people who maybe are just aspiring gamers and wanting to teach themselves how to code well enough with an AI model, are going to be able to build these games for the first time. So I, just like, whenever like a new continent gets access to internet for the first time, there's this huge idea that like so many minds are effectively coming online and are going to be able to do things, to communicate with people and create new things that they've never done before. I feel like that's going to happen for game development because people who are not as skilled are going to be able to compete on an equal playing field. But I think that actually lasts on like the 1 to 3 year time span. On the 3 to 10 year time span, I think this influx in this huge amount of creativeness that's going to happen through AI is going to allow gameplay and really all media to be more like linear and curated to more personalized, where games or movies or really anything that you enjoy is going to be personalized based on your preferences with the power of AI. So I think it's that's the short of it, and I'm really really excited about it.
Yeah, I myself as well. And Devin, thanks again for your time and sharing, of course, on behalf of Game GPT. Much love, brother. I'm gonna pass it over here to Michael O'Connor on behalf of Today the Game. And Michael, same question, my friend. Where would you like to see the future of AI and Web3? We'd love to hear from you. Go ahead.
I think it's a kind of a paradigm change to society as a whole. Sometimes people say that, the internet was the biggest update to society since, the printing press. I think the impact of AI will be bigger than both, actually. Yeah, and obviously, it's kind of almost impossible to try to fully predict how it's going to go and what's going to change. I always recall a really interesting interview with David Bowie back in the day when people were asking about the emergence of the internet. And they were saying it's just a tool, isn't it? It's just this some kind of tool to find out information. And Bowie was like, no, it's not just a tool. It's far bigger than that. It's going to have a bigger impact, not just across music, but across all aspects of society. And I share this kind of way of thinking for what AI is going to do. I mean, I'm obviously super excited about, from a personal level, what it means for the future of virtual worlds. I've spent my life studying virtual worlds, from their emergence to today, and I have a lot of hope about what that's going to be. Where we're headed on that. In particular, I'm really excited to see a leveling of the playing ground, the hegemony of um, the vast amounts of like billion-dollar games companies that have emerged over the last 10 years. I don't think that their kind of moments in the sun's going to last for as long anymore. I think that it's going to be a lot easier for people to compete against major game studios, and I think that that's a really positive thing for culture broadly. So I suppose, to leave it on one major positive note, if you're thinking about building something, um, there's never been a better time to try. So yeah, I'll leave you on that note. Thanks so much.
Woo! Michael, man, coming in here with the gems, dude. Michael, thank you so much for your time and always sharing a little more of the insight regarding Today the Game. Shout out to you and what you're building there. Let's pass it over to FOMO Kings. FOMO Kings, same thing, my friend. How do you kind of see the future of AI and Web3? Please go ahead.
Wow, AI Web3, huh? Okay, so I think like AI is amazing. It will be ever evolving as well. I believe like in Web3, right? A lot of people that maybe if you weren't a creator and you wanna develop something in the future, I think that hopefully in 5 to 10 years, I think it's even happening now, right? Like everything, like all your contracts, all everything that you need to create, let's say an NFT or a project, can actually just take place automatically. I would say again, right? I know there's a lot of platforms that are already offering that, but I guess for Web3, it just goes back to, hey, either whether it's gaming or either it's like a project that you're starting off in the real world becomes an RWA and it's linked back to an AI. Um, Either it's linked back or backed by AI tech. To be honest, I think it's kind of like it's kind of limitless, and I can't put my finger on it, like how big it will grow. But I think it just goes back to all of us here in Web 2, Web 3, and the tech that develops, and how we can use it for the betterment of everyone, right? In terms of getting on Web 3 as well.
No, for
Yeah.
sure. For sure. FOMO, thanks so much for sharing, of course. And guys, show some love to My Token Asia as well. Their account is on the panel. Shoot them a follow. FOMO, thank you so much for your time. Let's go to Kip really quick, and then we'll conclude with Verita for the last 10 minutes. Kip, same question, man. Quick and easy. Future of AI and Web3. What are we looking at here?
I'll bet for the first area where it will create the most impact would be in education. So in line with that, we've teamed up with Open Campus. So we're going to push out Open Campus University, OCU, which would be one of the larger apps on the new EDU chain. It's essentially a decentralized AI education platform. And the reason why we think education not only will create the most impact, but also one of the more urgent things to do now. First is the use cases of AI in education is extremely obvious. I mean, students are probably the biggest users of AI now, and in our rounds, in our sales pitches, talking to professors at universities, everyone knows that the students are using AI, are using ChatGPT to write essays, and professors are concerned that their academic research and a lot of their very high value knowledge and data is being ripped and used to train models that don't belong to them and without their permission. So decentralized AI or a way in which they can protect, I think something similar to what Verida is doing for sure,
Yeah.
is very, very relevant in education. So that's what we are focusing a lot on. And the why it's urgent is also that um, it's always been a lot of concern about whether AI would replace humans, but the school of thought I belong to, or my team at KIP belongs to, is that AI wouldn't replace humans yet, not in the foreseeable future, but humans very good at using AI will replace humans that are not that good at using AI. Okay, for the foreseeable future, AI has no wants. AI doesn't want anything. It doesn't need anything. It doesn't feel anything. So it doesn't want to take your job. But the human that uses AI very, very well might end up doing that. So educating people also on how to use AI is also extremely important if we are going to be prepared for the future to come.
Whew, man, Kip coming in here with the takes. I love it, man. Thank you for sharing. And just for the sake of time, man, I know we're hitting the hour here. I want to respect people's time here. Verita, just on a scale of 1 to 10, tell me how bullish you are on AI and Web3.
Bullish. I'd say 8 or 9 out of 10 for sure.
I love it. I thought you were just gonna say bullish and then not even say a number. I was like,
I was tempted. Bullish
I
is the
love it.
number.
I love it, dude. Burrito, thank you so much for answering that quick question here. And look, guys, I just said it. This will officially be the wrap up of today's space, dude. I am leaving. Man, my Tuesday is just filled with AI knowledge. I'm about to go over to Mid Journey and just have a ton of fun now. But look, thank you so much to Manny, of course, on behalf of Forbes for having me, and then of course all my amazing panelists. Thank you guys so much for your time and effort to even just share 1 to 2 takes on today's discussion regarding AI and Web3. But look, that being said, if you're not following the Forbes account already, what are you doing? Go ahead and shoot them a follow. And as well to all the amazing panelists as well, shoot them a follow. And that being said, wish you all an amazing, beautiful rest of your day, night, morning, afternoon. And I will see you guys in the next space. Peace out.